Hello, very nice to be here. I'm having a very exciting morning, so I'm pleased to be here. So it's nice to have the opportunity to spend a little bit more time with you. The evolution that we're calling this shift, this transformation, is pretty obviously changing right now. Kind of what was is falling away. New things are happening depending on how you are holding your attention, 3D, 5D. You probably are beginning to have two different feelings, two different responses. And so this is going to continue. But the intention of this space where we're sitting right here, creating a new realm of consciousness, is really not about giving attention to that third dimensional world where we're all grown up. It's changing, it's transforming. And this morning, I got up early. I was really in a great space. It was going to be a nice day. One of those things we've been playing with, and how is that working for you? This is going to be a great day tomorrow when I go to bed tonight, and when I get up in the morning, this is going to be a great day. And it just happened to work out exactly like that for me this morning. See, I got up and the sun had started coming up. It wasn't fully up. The sky was somewhat cloudy here in the Pacific Northwest of the United States, cloudy quite often. Patches of blue, pleasant temperature, and I decided I was going to go for a walk. And right near where we live, there's wouldn't call it a mountain, but a relatively steep hill, very rocky, lots of fir trees. And fir trees grow with a high canopy because they're always reaching for the sun. A lot of no branches down below, and pretty compact. And as I kind of started on this trip, moving out to go for this hike, partly cloudy, patches of blue sky, pleasant morning. And so climbing up through the rocks, I love jumping on rocks, from rock to rock. It's been one of my joys all my life. But this particular place had no path. I hadn't really gone in this part of the woods before. And it was somewhat dark, but enjoyable. And moving through all the rocks, I wound up coming to a place where it had been logged. Washington State is all about logging. And it had been logged a long time ago, and it was open. And I was well up on this hillside, and it was quite beautiful. The sun had come up more, the day had unfolded more, the blue sky was more blue. And I kind of sat on a rock, a rock, with a great view of above the trees. And what I got to watch it was really about how am I going to do this class, this session right now. And as I sat there, enjoying jumping on the rocks, enjoying the fresh air, enjoying the blue sky, it's still pretty cloudy, but the thing about it was the clouds were all beginning to dissolve, beginning to break up. And then it got really entertaining because I was in a good space, and it was like, wow, look at that. It's a dragon in the clouds. And there's a lion, and there's a cat, and there's a kind of a city over there, and it kept changing and morphing into other. Remember when you used to look at the clouds? And you used to imagine? We probably did that yesterday, right? When was the last time you did that? It was really enjoyable. And then it got to be kind of fun. What is that cloud? And it began to move faster and faster because the clouds were all dissolving and the sky was blue. It kind of helped shape where we're going to play today, that story. Stories. Do you have stories? Do you have permission to have stories? Do you have permission to play? We're beginning to introduce those words in the past sessions that we played. Permission and allowing. Two enormous words that really kind of change your entire story depending on how permission and allowing was allowed to play in your story. Now, take a breath if you would, and kind of just sit back. We're still going to talk here for a minute, but the opportunity to begin to see those clouds transforming into whatever you wish them to be is beginning to be a possibility. Now, speaking about sky blue, one of the things that we're doing is this is an agreement. We're all here in agreement. And that agreement is about really one thing: creating a new realm of consciousness, building a pathway for those who are waking up, those who are metaphorically just starting their journey into the woods. It's still dark, but there's beginning to be a sense of more. Do you know that sense of more? There's something more. There's something different. The story that I've lived all my life provided me to get here, but now there's more. There's like, that story doesn't exactly work anymore. But I digress for a moment. So would you be aware of your crown chakra right on the top of your head? And would you bring it to sky blue? And again, that whole purpose of sky blue is to get into agreement. It's more or less, let's look at this realm of consciousness that we're building. So would you just take another breath, and would you enjoy yourself? Would you simply find a sense of possibilities, a sense of excitement? What if there was a new realm? And what if that new realm, as we're setting it up, had compassion and respect, and it was gracious, and it had joy and laughter and co-creation, and people liked one another, and I liked me? Would you just kind of find that sense of that feeling, I like me? And remember, we've been playing in this space, beginning to create a reference point that allows you to perceive the world around you, perceive this transformation of energy, and basically choose, let's call it a new story. A new story. So, another breath. And would you be comfortable? Would you just kind of sit back in your chair, and would you be comfortable? No need to close your eyes. We're just still kind of setting this up. But would you find the sense, with your eyes open, of being comfortable, relaxed, and would you be present? Present. I'm here, right here. Another breath. Now, I want to repeat some of the things that I've said to begin to set this up into the next iteration of grandeur, because it is really beginning to be fascinating. We've said in each of these sessions that this new realm of consciousness, these new layers of consciousness, this new possibility is beginning to form. And in this transition, there is simply more light coming into the experience, more consciousness. That light is both elevating and creating new possibilities, and this light is also shining into the darkness, manner speaking. But what it's doing, it's removing the shadows. So what used to be the monster under the bed turns out just to be an old towel that's been laying there for some time. That sense of the story that says, doubt, step back, uncertain, I'm not sure, I don't know what to do. You see, part of that whole third dimensional story has been created in doubt. If I can create doubt for you, if I could say there's really something bad over there, don't go over there, watch out over there, and you believe me, you'll never go over there. And how many times you've been told, watch out for, don't, this is bad, don't talk to them. See, that's all that third dimensional part of the story. And we've all been in agreement with that part of the story. We didn't like that part of the story necessarily, but we've all been in agreement. And the rigidity of the level of consciousness, in a manner of speaking, in that third dimension has been very strong. And to a great extent, it's because if you believe something is, or you believe something is not, you're generally correct. And in that story, that third dimensional story, it began to continue to expand. And then that law of attraction, what you put your attention on is what you draw to yourself, began to play out perfectly. And in each of our stories, we actually began to draw more of what we didn't want quite often than what we did want. But now the opportunity to change the story, your story, is now beginning to be quite fascinating. Because see, just like where I climbed up that mountain today and then had a moment to step into that place where the timber had been cut, actually was quite a view that opened up. And interestingly enough, that new growth was all happening all over the place. So yeah, those trees were cut down, but that new growth was happening everywhere. And there was enough light that was brought into that area of that cut that the new growth could come about. And to a great extent, that's exactly what's happening right here. We've been playing in that rigid story, but this first level of light, and it's really fascinating now because as that third dimension begins to have light shone into it, shined into the shadows, there are still many that are arguing for their limitations, arguing for their security, arguing for what has been, and arguing for a truth. A truth, this is how it is, the truth. But there's a doubt that's beginning to shine into that third dimensional game. And the doubt is really very simple. Maybe there's more to the story. But those in third dimension are going to argue loud over the coming months and years, but only a few years. This isn't going to take decades and eons of time. This light is illuminating the shadows. Not only the third dimensional shadows, your shadows. Now, maybe you evolved past shadows, but I'm not there yet. So another breath. What if there was more to the story than the story you were told? Now, just allow that to be a question, a real question. What if there was more? And if you take a breath, and let's kind of begin to play here, just sit back, close your eyes, and just allow yourself to consider, just sitting on your park bench, sitting comfortably, quiet, relaxed, right in the space where we've been playing I Like Me. And would you simply allow yourself to consider the possibility that there is more to the story than the story I have been living? Not so much that anybody lied to you, but simply in the place where we've been playing, we have simply observed what was there to observe. But now this light that's coming in is shining into the shadows. Basically, what was true once upon a time may not be true any longer. And what was false once upon a time may not be false any longer. You see, that's one of those really interesting parts of that fourth dimensional space we began to approach the last time we spoke. Fourth dimension, a thought realm, non-physical. It's the place where all the thoughts ever thought are stored. It's also the emotional body of the earth, but we'll get to that another day. But right here, where all the thoughts are stored, if I believe this is all there is, then this is all there is. And I only have this to deal with. But take another breath, comfortable, and would you just find another word, the vibration of neutral. Oh, great vibration. Neutral. It's a breath, it's an exhale, it's a non-engagement, it's allowing. I'm going to allow whatever possibility presents to present. I'm going to simply be neutral and observe what's sitting right there. Oh, what's unfolding, what's coming about. Neutral. Just another breath. And then would you just consider this possibility? Possible. There's more to the story than what I have either been told or what I have allowed myself to believe. Now, no failure, nothing bad or good. But what if there was more to the story? Now, here's where that question may have been asked in the past, and we bump into another consideration. If there's more to the story, I don't know how to figure it out. I don't know how to find it. It's not obvious to me. And so what we've done is we've just retreated back into our own doubts, our own uncertainties, our own fears, our own withdrawals, our own limitations, our own story. But what if there is more to the story? And you see now, the mere fact that you're here, you must be saying there's got to be more to this game than how I've been playing the game. And many have known there's more to the game, but I don't know how to unravel it. I don't know how to engage with it. I don't know how. But what if there was more to the story? Now, another breath. Now, one of the things that we're going to do today is begin to build some new reference points. You see, if I always do what I've always done, I generally always get what I always got. But if I can interrupt what I've always done and walk down a different street, we talked about that big guy and that little guy, and the worn path. I keep walking past that over and over, and that's what I see, and I really am uncomfortable with this experience. But what if you were able to recognize that there was more to the story? That there was another street to walk down, and another direction to go, another possibility to bring into your awareness. In order to do that, it would be helpful if I could perceive my story from a different reference point. It's like looking at a lovely garden. You walk around, you look at it from different points of reference, different parts of the garden. You get to see different plants and beauty. Another breath. Now, right here, there's another piece of that, and this is one of your greatest pieces of creation. But in the third dimensional game, for many, many of us, we were not given permission. Stop imagining, stop lying, stop making up stories, stop. There's no angel sitting at the desk where you're playing tea. Stop. It's time to grow up. You're making up too many stories. Why are you always daydreaming? Anybody know that place? The big ones said, I don't give you permission. That's not how we play this third dimensional game. You have to work hard. You have to get A's. Well, we know all that. Another breath. But what if there was more to the story? And what if that word imagination, permission, allowing, just simply opened up the forest? All of a sudden there was more room to view what was there that was previously kind of in the shadows. So let's just play right here. Neutral. And then would you simply ask yourself, what if? And then would you notice what comes up? Because see, here's one of those interesting vibrations. The vibration is such that if you can believe there may be more, there's another choice, there's many more possibilities or opportunities, there's really excitement, then what you're really doing is stepping forward and beginning to allow, beginning to imagine, beginning to open up possibilities, opportunities. But if it's like, oh no, I'm okay, then in a way, that third dimensional world still has a pretty big hold. It's the place where it says, no, I'm uncertain, I'm not sure, I have doubts, I'm going to just step back. I'll let somebody else do it, and then maybe I'll consider. So right here, without any opinion, without any emotion, without any feeling, just right here in this I like me, is it possible there could be more to the story? And are you willing to allow that story to begin to unfold? It's really just like sitting on that rock this morning looking up at the clouds as they all began to dissolve. The light was coming in, the clouds were beginning to dissolve, the water vapor was simply going away. But in the process, there was this great flying dragon and the lion. It was, and then it would just morph into something else. At least that's what I imagined. Now, another breath. And would you be a little bit more quiet? Do you remember where we played in this last session where we talked about that fifth layer of thought, where it gets more focused, it gets less thinking, it gets more into a place of certainty, comfortable, and now you begin to merge with the higher self. More wisdom, more knowledge, more information. Now, right here is where you begin to see there's more to the story. There's always been more to the story. Now, it's interesting here, we're going to create something we've talked about, a third dimensional space, the doubt, the uncertainty, the separation, the conditionality, the linear timeness, the construct of non-permission. I don't allow you. I need others to tell me I'm okay, or they at least give me approval. Third dimension. And then we said fifth dimension, just simply well-being, laughter, joy, appreciation. There's no fear in the fifth dimension. There's simply comfortableness. Oh, is it possible to do something and not get the right outcome in the fifth dimension? Oh, yeah. But there it's not failure or fear or I did bad, I'm not going to be approved of. See, that doesn't exist in this fifth dimensional space. What is there? It's like, oops. Oops is such a great word. Oops, I must have missed a step. I thought all doors push open, and somehow I'm pushing and it's not opening. Well, maybe this one pulls. Never thought of that before, you say. And you pull the door and it opens and it's like, whoa, this is new, something new. Now, take another breath and would you just simply pause for a second? And would you consider that the clouds are simply beginning to loosen up? We're not throwing rocks at 3D. It's been very valuable in real terms. You'll come to know that at some point. But what begins to happen right here is it's as if that light that was behind the clouds, it just simply was being prevented from coming in. The clouds are beginning to dissolve. They're beginning to provide amusement, imagination, possibilities. But what's happening behind the clouds is the light has always been there. That blue sky has always been there. Now, what if I could just allow the possibility of there's more to the story, and rather than trying to fix the story, change the story, improve the story, get them to like me in the story, do the right thing in the story, get approval in the story, what if that simply wasn't important at all right here, right now in this moment? What if there was more to the story? Now, another breath. Now, you can find that neutral, and would you just ask that question? And could you allow yourself to have an answer? Is it possible there's more to the story? So let me nudge it a little bit. Yes, it's really possible. Like big time. Oh, but wait a minute, I'm not sure, somebody says. Okay. But what if there was more? Now let's kind of create some reference points, as I said. Let's build this space. So that 3D, that duality, separation, conditionality, right, wrong, good, bad, let's just say that's all very real in the third dimension. And just a simple question, would you like to step out of that, being the conditionality of the experience? What if there was more? And simply how we're going to do that is I've made this reference recently. It's like, have you ever painted, varnished a wooden floor possibly, or you've seen people possibly do it, unless you're young and we don't even have wooden floors anymore, but once upon a time. A wise painter starts at the furthest point away from the door and paints themselves into the doorway. Would you simply recognize that you're that wise painter? Oh, we're not looking at how the room's coming out. We're just simply recognizing that I've done a lot of things, but right now, because I'm here, I must have backed myself into the doorway to be able to step out of the third dimension. Now, would you just consider that possibility? And if it's interesting, would you allow it to be a reference point? I have painted myself all the way out of the third dimension. Well, almost all the way out. I have 1 foot out and I still have 1 foot in, but I'm mostly right at the doorway. Would you allow that concept to be a possibility? And if you can allow that concept to be a possibility, where that one foot is out and one foot is in, right there at the edge. We're going to kind of build two positions. One is, we're going to call it third dimension, all of those things we just said. And the other concept is fifth dimension, well-being, joy, laughter, I'm happy, I like myself. You know, this space we're building. You have a third dimensional space that one foot is held, a fifth dimensional space where the other foot is held. And what we're going to do is basically remove everything in the middle. That what's in the middle is, well, but you don't understand. I really do want to get over there, the fifth dimension, but I've got these chores, I've got these things I got to do, and I really wasn't a nice person once upon a time. All of that stays in the room. We're not even going to entertain the but. There is no but. There is, I have attention in the third dimensional space, or I have attention in the fifth dimensional space. There is nothing in between. If you find yourself in that third dimensional space, that's where you are. Just matter of fact. I'm in the 3D. Now, the question is, do you want to be in the 3D? And if the answer is no, take a breath, smile, I like me. That fourth layer of thought we've started to build into the framework. Bring your attention into that fifth layer of thought. Pull yourself in. A little more, I like me. In fact, would you just simply try that out? Fifth dimension. I like me. Now, I'm not going to suggest you go here, but there's a lot of room here in these days, a lot of current events, a lot of changes, a lot of disruptive energy beginning to present itself. Would you just kind of look at that, and would you notice what that feeling could be? Well, don't go to it, but just kind of notice the feeling. And then would you take a breath, and would you simply recognize that's all in transition? So am I. I'm over here in this fifth dimensional space. Simple reference point. Where am I? 3D, 5D. 3D, 5D. I'm here or there. Now, I'm going to make it a game, if you would. You see, you can laugh in a game. You can be amused in a game. It's not a serious game. It really isn't a serious game. But see, here's one of the pieces of information of the story that really wasn't told. We've talked about 3D and 5D, and we've defined them pretty clearly over all these years, all of us, you, me, everybody. But see, as those clouds start to pull back, there's an interesting piece of information that has not really been observed. And what's being noticed is there is nothing called 3D. There is no 3D. It doesn't exist. But something exists. Well, yeah, I know something exists, but no, what we've called 3D, what that simply is another attention point, a reference point. And it's a point, let's call it a little bubble of light that has a little kind of darkness in it. And it is completely surrounded by 5D. All it is a little spot within 5D, a little disruption in 5D, a very well-constructed game to play inside 5D for those that chose to play the game. But it is just a little pinpoint inside well-being. Now, nobody's defined the story that way. It was really fun having the archangelics say, well, there's a little more you haven't paid attention to. Look over there. I'm just saying to you, look over there. Another breath, if you would. Now, right here, would you pause and just notice yourself? And I mean just notice yourself. Quiet, aware, and notice if something is changing. And with a smile and an aha, you mean there's more to the story? Oh yeah, there's even more. But yeah, more to the story. Now, but if you notice, you may feel a little fuzziness in your head. You may feel a little bit of a distance. Now, just hear this simply. It's a little bit of a space. It's not spaced out, but there may be a little bit of a spaciness in your awareness. It may not be there at all, but you might just notice. You see, the place that we're pointing to right here is that rigidity that there is no more story. Oh, I know this story. I've lived this story. But see, right here where that belief is anchored, you're simply beginning to say to that aspect of you, some of you play with the fourth ray of light, you're basically saying, I have believed the story based on the conditions and the structure of how the story has been presented. But right here, you're beginning to notice more of a story. Right here, the light is shining into those shadows. It's right here, that little bit of fuzziness in the head. And I'm just pointing it out. It may be there, it may not be there. It's not important at all. Some went, oh my God, I've always known there was more to the story. See, that's very explosive. It's like, whoa, yeah, this is really good. Take another breath. There's more to the story. And see, as you create this reference point that basically says, where am I? There's no good or bad. It's a reference point. I'm noticing I'm holding lesser of the amount of joy than I want. I'm in that third dimensional space. It's becoming conscious of being conscious. It's becoming conscious of being aware. Those clouds are beginning to dissipate more and more. And you may have dragons to laugh at, to ride on, but that's up to you. But right here, if you would allow, there's more to the story. This reference point, am I in 3D or am I in 5D? Now, would you just kind of answer the question with a feeling? And there's a huge opportunity that we've created and put in place called the new realm. And in that new realm, there's something that's referred to as the octave. Oh, we've been in this for a long time now. This octave's been available. Very much part of the new realm. The framework that allows you to get comfortable, would you just right here be in that octave? Joy, ease, there's a buoyancy, a lightness to it. There's a laughter, there's a comfortableness. It's a feeling where you step into a place where there's all your friends sitting there waiting for you, recognizing you, saying hello to you, laughing, being happy that you're here. Would you feel that sense of joy? Now, If right here there is a doubt in any way, would you recognize that that doubt is just simply somebody else saying, you have to follow the story as I tell you this story? It may be the mom, the dad, the teacher, the minister, the best friend even. We're not looking for people to blame. There's no blame. But there's permission. Would you find the feeling of permission? I have permission. And it's in the octave. There's joy. I have permission. Now, the interesting part of the story that also is not really told very much is that as you begin to construct the relationship between permission and joy and imagination and possibility and certainty and creativity, you begin to weave a new realm of consciousness. So another breath. Now the fun part of this also is in that octave, as you hold your attention in this octave and you allow yourself to smile, maybe even to laugh out loud. That's advanced, don't rush into that. And you can simply be pleased with yourself for no reason. I like me for no reason. I'm happy for no reason, except this is the reason I wish to experience myself. Happy, joy, pleased, comfortable. Now, would you also recognize in this word ease, a very big word, a very deep energy, a very expansive opportunity? It's just ease. It's a nice, slow breath. It's relaxed. I am comfortable. And in this I like me space, and there's this ease, and there's a smile, but you also recognize you're sitting in the Sacred Heart. And it's comfortable, and it's vast, and yet it's just simply very here. It's right here. And that joy and this smile, just find the smile. See, the smile is the oneness with the Creator. It's where the Creator and I are one. It's where we create together. But right here, this sense of ease, joy. And would you also notice the feeling of certainty? It's without doubt. It's not that there isn't things to push against or be unsure about or not quite understand all the answer yet, but this is a space where there is a sense of certainty. I'm feeling certain right here, comfortable. I am okay. Certainty. Right here, you've never done anything wrong, you've never failed, you haven't broke anything. There's nothing to be guilty for, nobody to blame. All of that is that reference point right over there, 3D. I'm over here, 5D. I can see it over there. I don't need to go over there to experience it. And there's a sense of being in this sacred heart, in this joy, in this ease. And there's a certainty. I'm beginning to have an awareness opening up in this new realm of light. I have permission to be here. I'm allowed to be here. I choose to be here. Now there's another feeling coupled with all of this. We're weaving a template, new realm of consciousness. This template is strength. Would you have a breath, and in your certainty, I am here, would you have a sense of strength? Now, it's not lifting weights, it's not pushing against, it's I am here. I have permission. I'm creating my here. And strength and certain and joy, they begin to rub together to create a sense of seniority. Seniority, this is who I am. It's an ownership. And there's no effort to this. There's permission. This is who I am. And then other words, feelings slip in. Capable. I am capable. It needs no permission from anyone else. It has no reference to playing in third dimension. Did you do it well or not? Or did you get an A or a D? No, nothing. That's third dimension. That's over there. I'm over here. I'm comfortable right here in the sacred heart, in this ease, joy, this strength. There's a certainty. I'm capable. Now, if there's any doubt right here, allow it, and then just simply recognize that it belongs over there, that third dimensional space. I'm going to let that go for the moment. I'm here. I like me. Now see, this is where the story begins to be very exciting, the new part of the story, because all that's really required is a thought and a feeling. I like me. There's no work to be done because you're in the process of weaving a template. And there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,000 of you sitting right here in agreement, weaving a template of joy, certain, capable. I like me. No obligation. Can't do it wrong. It's simply a smile. And as you kind of go on that hike through the woods, and it's a little dark and there's lots of rocks, it's that space where I love to jump on the rocks. You see, and everything else goes away, but the excitement of recognizing another aspect of the story that was really never presented. And in that seniority, that capableness, that ability to simply enjoy from focus, woven with the higher self, into I like me, you just feel the energy that we're creating. Now, one of the exciting parts of this is as you begin to weave these patterns of electromagnetic thoughts and feelings into this fifth multi-dimensional space, this blue sky that just has a little dot over there. It's really not much more than a little dot where many have given attention and said, well, let's create this game called 3D. And we did. We did it really well. Oh, that'll be understood later. Enormously successful. But it's time to go home. And you see, home is that blue sky where the clouds have all dissipated and there's joy and ease and laughter. This fifth dimensional platform is right here, reference point. I like me. Another breath. And would you be pleased with yourself? As you begin to find yourself here more and more often because you're weaving the template, and you allow that 3D space to be over there happening the way it wants to happen, but it's not necessary for you to do anything at this point. This is that space of 100% for me, beginning to have to create 100% service to others. But here we're at a pause to create, to give to ourselves, to begin to have for ourselves, to begin to set these templates in place, these patterns, these platforms, to kind of sit and enjoy the possibility of dragons in the clouds. So what if there is more to the story? Are you interested? Now let me leave you with this. We wish you to play right here in this coming week, and then we will add to it as we meet again. But if you would just become conscious of being conscious, of recognizing where are you? 3D, 5D. Recognize there's no but, there's no excuse, there's no, yeah, I'm going to get to it. No, nothing. I'm here or I'm there. Neither one is bad or good, but one may be a preferred choice to be chosen. So would you take another breath, relaxed, liking yourself, and maybe just breathe your eyes open if you'd like. Take your time, not a hurry. A couple of deep breaths. I like me. This is a great day. Wiggle your toes, wiggle your nose. And would you make a decision, if you'd like, if you choose, to simply get up, go walk outside, take a deep breath, and recognize it's a great day. play with this in the week, and there's more to the story when we come back. Blessings.